Choosing the right tent can be overwhelming. There are so many choices, different styles, and not all tents are great for every adventure. Today we're talking everything about tent types, pros and cons of each, key features to look for, and my personal recommendations for backpacking or motorcycle camping. What makes a good tent? There are several considerations when choosing a tent. This would be things like weight and packability, weather protection, ease of setup, and interior space for you and possibly some of your gear. Ease of setup is a big one for me. So this would affect things like the style of the tent you might choose. Freestanding versus semi-freestanding or a hiking pole setup. All of these styles affect the ease of setup. Interior space is super important, especially if the weather takes a turn for the worst. You might be stuck hanging out inside your tent for a while, and you might want you and all your gear to fit in there comfortably. This is why I usually recommend sizing up one person if you can, if space is a factor. So if you're a solo, you might want to consider a two-person tent to fit you and your gear comfortably. Let's talk about types of tents and their uses. First, the one that has always been my preference, the freestanding or dome-style tent. This means you don't need stakes in the ground to set up the structure of the tent. You will likely need them for the Rainfly though, to create the vestibule, but not for the actual structure of the tent. Freestanding tents are good for general backpacking, and if you are motorcycle camping, this is probably the style I would always choose, as weight is not as much of an issue. They're also great for car camping. They aren't the greatest for the backpacker looking to shed every possible ounce from their pack, so that is worth mentioning. There are also semi-freestanding, which I have a good amount of experience with. These can be the best of both worlds. They use dedicated poles for the structure, but also require stakes to hold tension to the walls and create the shape of the tent. The pros and cons are pretty similar to freestanding and trekking pole tents. They really are the best of both worlds. They're great for backpackers that are looking for a small pack size with decent livable space. The Rainfly is the part that covers the tent itself, protecting you from the elements, and also creating the vestibule that we talked about earlier. There are two styles of Rainfly, and in my opinion, there is one clear winner. There are roof only, which is, as it sounds, covers only the top of the tent. The rest of the protection comes from the tent walls itself. The other option is the full coverage Rainfly. This is my preference as it offers the most protection, creates a vestibule unlike the other option, and it allows for more mesh panels in the tent that help with airflow. My backpacking tents have always been full coverage. The top only is really only good for fair weather camping. For me personally, car camping or motorcycle camping, the freestanding option with a full Rainfly would be the best bet. If you are looking for something ultra lightweight for backpacking or through hiking, I would consider a semi-freestanding or trekking pole tent. I also like a tent that has a decent vestibule, and for two people I would make sure that it has two doors so no one has to climb over somebody to get out of the tent in the middle of the night.